The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Today, we are chatting with Taja Fox of Bermuda Bliss Women to discuss prioritizing your mental health and setting boundaries in your personal and professional lives. But before we get into that conversation with Taja and before we bring her in, we want to start with our feel good warm up of the day and say good morning to those of you that are watching with us. Good morning, Sean Smith, as well as Rochelle Sumner. And even if you're not in the comments, you're watching with us, maybe you're still getting ready for starting your day. We say good morning to you as well. Jacky and I were having a quick discussion backstage because we saw some breaking news on our favorite social media platform, which is Twitter. And we just want to go ahead and bring this into the conversation because we see that we actually have a comment here coming in from Sean Smith about this as well. So over there in the Daily Hour, they tweeted that the president of St. George's Cricket Club, Neil Painter, announced that Somerset have accepted the challenge, so there will be a cricket game this year. And right here, this comment from Sean Smith, I'm sure there'll be all smiles all the way around with Cup Match being back on. Absolutely, Jacky and I probably agree, but we do want to ask you in the audience, if you had not heard the news that Cup Match is back on, how do you feel about Cup Match being back on? Yesterday, we spoke with Kamal Lavrock, who is a Somerset cricket player. He's played for Somerset before. And so we had a deep discussion. I thought it was deep because I'm the only St. George's fan. And so it was really interesting to hear the perspective of a Somerset cricket player as well as Jacky as a fan. So it was definitely a really interesting conversation yesterday. If you missed it, don't worry, you can always catch the replay. Let us know in the comments how you feel about Cup Match being back on for 2021. Jacky and I will start that for you and we'll bring you into the conversation. So Jack, Somerset fans. Yeah, of course. you might go the Cup, so you have to go first.
Oh, I just keep giggling because I mean, everybody that I've heard from is a St. George's fan. Like even on the Daily Hour, our extended family, they were all St. George's. So they were begging and rooting for it to come on. And if it doesn't go on, St. George's should take the cup. Remember all that stuff. Even on Twitter, Somerset doesn't want to play. St. George should take the cup. Mm-hmm. Now, as I tweeted last night, you guys begged for Somerset to come out and play. Do not take a cutty. Okay? You begged, you chastised, you put the banter out there, all of that. That energy is out there now. You lot gotta stand firm and win, because if you lose after all the trash talk, gosh, it's almost like a Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Like all the trash talk, you banter back and forth, and then you get beat down. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear a peep if you like don't get the cup. If you like get the cup, then congratulations, good on you. But if you don't, banter for the rest of your lives.
I do want to bring the audience into the conversation. So good morning to Karen Edwards Simmons as well as Davida O'Brien. We have a comment here from Davida, Jack.
Well, St. George's has hootenanny what they want. So I hope they lose. They take it like champs with no excuses. Yes, if you lose, you gotta take it and walk away proudly and be like, yep, okay, good job, guys. I don't want to hear any excuses. No excuses, because you asked for it.
Absolutely none. And then we have another comment here from Janae Adnan. She says, thank goodness, I'm all for it. Okay, as a St. George's fan, because I am I'm on the opposite team as from Jack. As a St.
That's
George's
fine.
fan, I definitely want the team that we put forth to be a strong team. And if we lose, but we lose like where we actually played a good game, where we actually had Somerset like on their heels, like trying to win, then I wouldn't be upset. If we take a cutty, if it's like another 2-for-1, I'm going to just be like, listen, call me in like 10 years when we have a new batch of players, because I just don't know. I just don't know what to say. So yes, I haven't been in the banter from like we need to play so that we can kind of win, because I have that confidence in my team. I don't have the confidence just yet. I haven't seen the team that they're going to put forth. However, if I see a team that I think, oh yeah, this is going to be a team, then I'm going to come full strong, full hot, wide open.
Your war paint on your face.
I have my war paint. Yeah, I'm already got my blue one. One thing about me during this time of the year, I'm always going to have the proper
We matched the show. Look.
I'm on the opposite too.
That is crazy. Look at that. We're always,
we're always ready. We have a comment here from Jamal, Jack.
The cup is coming home. Sing it with me. I'm not reading the rest.
I'll do it. I'm going to say it's coming home. Tell the world it's coming home. Yes, Jamal. Yes. We have another comment here. Good morning, Shaz. Welcome to the conversation. If you're just joining us, we did share the announcement that Somerset have accepted the challenge to play the annual classic known as Cup Match. So whether you're a Somerset fan, a St. George's fan, whether you feel like you were a part of the pressure that was applied to possibly get the challenge accepted, or I feel like yesterday after the Daily Hour show, I was listening to a radio show late in the evening, maybe around like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and Neil Painter was on. I don't remember the personality's name that he was on with, but they were having a conversation around, this challenge letter and it not being accepted and all that good stuff. And it was really interesting because people were calling Ian. And there was one person that called in that said that they were, from a health perspective, a public health perspective, they didn't want Cup Match to go on. And then there was another person that was saying we should have it because of what it stands for. So it's really interesting to see the different perspectives and what people are focusing on when it comes to having Cup Match. Like some people are focused on like the story of Cup Match. Some people want to focus on the game of cricket. Other people are like, it's a panorama outside. Why are we trying to be close to each other? So it's really interesting just how this conversation is evolving. And it looks like Shaz is a St. George's fan. So it looks like it's a mixed crowd of Somerset and St. George's, which I like. I don't like it to be lopsided. And I also like that Jacky and I are both on opposite teams.
I know. Well, I mean, as you saw, Primo Bird is also excited. He said he's going to be wearing his red and blue and ready to bring the cup home, So.
Or keep the cup, because y'all have it. So St. George's is trying to bring it home.
People keep saying, bring it home. So I'm going to make sure that it stays home.
Shaz is definitely one of those people who is saying, let's bring it home.
Yeah, well, it's going to go right back up the road.
Right back up the country, down the country. Ooh, do you know which way it goes? Up the country or down the country? Let us know in the comments if you know which way it goes and how that is determined. Because it definitely took me some years to figure out which way was the right way to say it. We have a comment here from Karen Edwards Simmons, Jack.
Well, I hope the game is played in the spirit of what Cup Match is about, the historical context, community celebration, emancipation. Cricket is secondary, but St. George's will take the game because they will be, I feel like you're doing this on purpose. They were ready and willing to come out. You're making me read all St. George's banter.
I am, because you have another
Somerset. Thank you.
We can't see the rare, but we are assuming that those black hearts are supposed to be rare. We do believe you, Janae, when you say Somerset. We definitely believe you. And we have one more comment from Shaw. She says, I don't know why, but saying up for years, it's based on the way the wind. It's the wind direction.
He explained it on the Daily Hour. I think it was right before the event. So he was saying it's about the wind and tide. I have to go back and watch. We could all go back and watch that episode.
Definitely catch the replay. So We are going to switch gears and we're going to get into our feel-good conversation of the day. We're talking health and wellness today. So we have a question for the audience. We want to know, because we're about to bring in Taja Fox of Bermuda Bliss Women. Let us know in the comments, how do you prioritize your mental health and your spiritual wellness? What are some of the things that you do? Are you finding it easy to do that? Do you need some assistance with that? Let us know in the comments, because right now we are going to bring in Taja Fox of Bermuda Bliss Women. Welcome, Taja.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you for having
me.
You're so welcome. So let's jump right into this conversation. You are the founder of Bermuda Bliss. Can you let our audience know the story behind the safe space that you've created for women?
Yes. So Bermuda Bliss or Bliss Woman was created, frankly, out of connections that I've made with locals, as well as my family members, my mom, my aunt. I noticed a trend for Black women and women of minority that we don't focus on our mental well-being enough. Yes, we love going to the doctors, making sure that we receive our checkups, but we carry so much weight and burden, and we just feel like we have to go without checking in with ourselves, because we love to take care of others. So I created Bliss Women out of that context to help other women, just understand that it's important to take care of your health, and that your health is more important than anything.
That actually leads into my next question, because you said we carry so much. So, we always have to put on a smile, get things done.
Mm-hmm.
But as women, as Black women, we have to be strong all the time. We can't be too emotional. We can't be too fragile. We can't be too strong either. And then we also can't show too much emotion when it comes to being angry without being labeled the angry Black woman. So, how do we combat those stereotypes and change the narrative? How do we educate everybody else to understand that we also have emotions and we have to go through the process of expelling and getting our life together?
Yes, Jackie. So the point is to combat those narratives. First, we need to take an observation. What is causing me to react or feel this way? We need to figure out what are those things that we need to change and shift in order to shift other people's perspective and thinking as to how women should react. And also, we also need to take a different perspective as well. I know that in the Black community, it is such a narrative where we just take on everything. The woman has to do X, Y, and Z. And I think we need to change that aspect. We need to check in with each other. We need to check in with our mothers, our daughters, cousins, sisters. And we just need to ensure that, are you okay? Let me see if I can assist you. That's why community is important. And that's why I created this platform, is because we do need to have some support system in order to start changing and shifting everyone's perspective on that certain narrative.
So you have this support system for women, because as you're saying, as women, we feel like we have to take on everything. In the community, we have to be the glue that holds everything together. At the end of the day, you even say it, we have to check in with each other. But what are the steps after checking in with each other to ensure that we decompress, we recharge, just to be able to go back out the next day and put the smile on our faces and, take on the world?
Yeah, so after checking in, you also need to have an accountability partner. Make sure that person is your person that you can always go to, trust, and confide in. But also, we need to figure out, okay, what areas do I need to work on, and start creating steps to work on those areas to improve your health. Whether it's maybe just taking time off, a break from the kids, or time off from work. I know as women, we enjoy what we do no matter what, because that's just our nature. But we also need to understand that we need breaks even when we don't think we need those breaks. So it's important to figure out, okay, this Saturday, I'm going to just spend 30 minutes to myself, whether that's early in the morning, in silence, or going for a walk. Just something that can support your mental well-being in some aspect, whatever that looks like for you.
No, I'm actually one of those people that doesn't know how to say no. So you ask me how I'm doing, I say I'm fine. You ask me if you need help from me, I will do whatever it takes. I'll give you my last hour of, coherency. But for the last year, we've been working from home, right? So you have the pandemic, we're working from home. That means that's 24/7 access from our bosses, from our friends. The computer is right there. We can jump right on if anybody says that they need assistance. How do we set up boundaries and say no and stand our ground? Like, what words can we practice using so that we can tell our bosses, it's after 5, it's after 6, it's not happening today, it's the weekend, it's not happening today. Like, what practices can we put into play to ensure that we protect ourselves, because we are yes women?
Yes, exactly. I actually had that issue. I always stayed in front of the computer, doing my work, even after work hours. And there was a point where I noticed that, hey, your health is sort of sliding to the opposite direction. So one is accepting that you can say the word no. Don't feel bad about saying no. Sometimes you need to do that not only for yourself, but others, because you can't be your best self if you're out here running on 1% energy to get things done. You have to learn to say no. And it's important to also have that in your vocabulary, because in order to ensure that you're getting to your optimum level of being your best self, you have to instill some set of boundaries. So those boundaries, of course, will look different from the next person, but start setting a schedule. Your schedule could be whether you start working early from 8 to 10, you figure out taking 10-minute increment breaks in between those moments to just stand up, to stretch. But you need to implement some sort of goals and a consistent schedule where you are able to figure out, okay, how can I start inserting that word no? Because the only way to do that is to have something input in your schedule where you have no choice but to say no, because that is the boundary that I've set for myself, for others. And also let people know of your schedule. Let people know that I can only do X, Y, and Z during this time, and I have this particular time for myself. When you inform others, they respect you for that, and you have no choice but to start adding no to your vocabulary.
Absolutely. And if you're just joining us, do remember that you can ask Taja any questions. Let us drop them in the comments and we'll bring them into the conversation. I did want to bring in this comment here from Janae Edna. She says, lately she's been trying to detox from what she listens to and watches. She'll pick up a good book instead of watching junk. I wanted to ask you, Taja, what are some ways that we can detox so that we can kind of protect our mental health? Because we do take in a lot of information, whether we work in front of our computer or even if we're watching TV all day or for a majority of the day. So what are some ways that we can detox ourselves so that we can protect our mental health and space?
Yeah, there are so many ways to detox. One, it's not necessarily just taking in healthy foods and detoxing for a period of time. It's also implementing habits where you're detoxing. Say, for instance, for social media, Bliss Women has a challenge, a 10-day challenge that started yesterday, where we implement certain things throughout our week to detox from other burdens in our lives, not necessarily burdens, but distractions. So one of the ways to detox from social media is, one, filtering the stream, your timeline. What information are you receiving? Because a lot of that information, of course, it could be negative. We do have a lot of negative content coming on the media, news media, social media constantly. So we have to learn to figure out what those filters are for ourselves and just start muting people maybe for a week or two if you can't handle it. And also another way to detox from social media, I know that this week and next week, you could just take an hour, cut off your phone before you go to bed and stay away from anything that has to do with social media. because it's a extremely habit to have your phone next to you right when you're going to bed. You can't really mentally wind down if you are constantly on social media right when you're in bed.
Absolutely. That's actually something that I do. I actually turn my phone on airplane mode before I go to sleep. So that way,
That's
no
smart.
notifications can come through, because sometimes like you'll do the like do not disturb, but you'll still like feel like, ooh, but did somebody post on Instagram? Let me just ignore this and just go see what they said. And then by then you're 30 minutes later, you're not going to bed and you're like, why am I so groggy in the morning? Why am I so mad at everyone at work? So I definitely tried the airplane mode. We have a question here from Jamel Hartman. He asks, what are some key differences, or do you believe there are key differences between Black women in the United States versus Black women in Bermuda as far as mental health challenges?
There's not too much of a difference, but there are certain elements like our environment, our social status, careers. Those things are somewhat that can look different as far as challenges for women of color and Black women in general. What I have noticed, just speaking with colleagues and peers, is that the one common thing that we do have is women are go-getters. We constantly hold everything on our shoulders, and we want to be our best to help our families because we're nurturing. And so we all can relate to doing way too much, but also we do a lot because we know that we are capable of doing it. And people always lean towards us to get things done, right? So those are some of the aspects, but our environments, some of the environments that we live in, whether, you are able to, maintain an income by yourself, or you have to have someone assisting you with that, those can look different. But the challenges within Black women in general, they're pretty much the same because we all can relate. We all come from the same cultural background per se when it comes to those challenges.
I still have so many questions. And the more information you give, the more questions I have to ask. But you're mentioning that you have a challenge that's going on that started yesterday, but that also leads into the fact that you have a seminar that's supposed to be today as well, correct?
Not a seminar. We have a wellness event, a retreat coming up, and that is in September. Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I can. So we're planning to do a wellness retreat from September 23rd through 25th. And it's going to be a 2-night, 1-day retreat where we're all here to have dialogue, conversations, implement certain habits that we didn't necessarily know that we could implement in our daily lives and lifestyles in order to improve our mental health. So one day we'll have like a morning, afternoon brunch and tea time. And so we're going to just have a dialogue, figure out other ways that we can not only challenge each other to learn to say the word no, learn to implement certain boundaries in our lives in order to improve our health. So it's going to be a relaxing but challenging sort of weekend because we all hate to be pushed to a certain limit and outside of our comfort zone. But it's going to help us all see things from a different perspective when it comes to our mental health.
Now, will that be in Bermuda, located in Bermuda as a staycation?
Yes. So we'll be located at Ledgelet's Cottage, and that is right there in Sands. Some say Somerset. So we will have that information on our website, bdablisswomen.com. All of the details in order to book, what that cost look like. If you are able to room with someone, bring a sister or a colleague with you, or if you want a room by yourself. We'll have all that information on our website by July 1st to start narrowing down the bookings. And it is limited to 10 women. It is going to be an intimate event. We don't want it to be a large event where people don't feel comfortable, just opening up or just being able to have a space where they feel comfortable to have these conversations.
Absolutely. As we get ready to wind down our conversation with Taja, let us know in the comments how you prioritize your mental health and well-being in the comments. And if you have any questions for Taja, drop them in the comments as well, because we would like to bring that into the conversation. We have greetings for you, Taja, from Kenneth Scott. He says, hello, sis, and good morning to everyone. Good morning to you as well, Kenneth. Thank you for joining us this morning. So as you were talking, Taja, you mentioned the challenge, which you said is a 10-day challenge that just started yesterday. Is it possible for, let's say, Jacky and I, we didn't know about the challenge, so we're going to start today. I just told Jacky that she didn't know she's doing it. So we're both doing the challenge. We're both getting ready to start this challenge with you. And for those of us who are just going to get started with you, can we catch up? If yes, what can we look forward to for the rest of the 9 days that you have for the challenge? And like, where do we find the information to like participate?
Yes, thank you for asking that, Terry. Anyone can jump right in and participate. You can find the information on our Instagram page, which is BDA Bliss Woman. There is a recent post as well as a recent Instagram or Insta story post where you can find this 10-day challenge scope, what that looks like. You can tag a friend, let us know that you're participating. You guys can reach out to us and send us an email through our website as well. And just share that you're participating. There's no huge restrictions to get involved. It's very free and open to anyone that wants to participate in the challenge. But again, you can find the information on our Instagram page at BDA Bliss Women. And the challenge itself just basically gives you simple steps to sort of evaluate your mental health in that process. Like I said before, there's a social media challenge where you filter out your timeline, and there are ways to also cut off your phone for at least an hour to take a break from the social media world.
Awesome. And so this conversation has been directly focused on women. It's BDA Bliss Women, which all three of us are women. However, we do have gentlemen in the comments and in the conversation that I also believe need this information. So although you target women, what are ways that men can kind of do some of the same things that women are doing? And or have you had conversations, because I know you're married, with your husband around mental health, and what are some of the things that he's kind of shared with you that has kind of helped him during this time?
Well, basically having conversations, just sitting down, figuring out, okay, what are my boundaries for myself, especially as Black men. It's okay to have those conversations, be open with your spouse, significant other, and let them know, today I'm not feeling well, so I would like to take a break, or can you help me with this? I think that is the start to just opening up dialogue to see where they are, where their headspace is. And men in general, I know that they love to confide with their friends, but I know it's hard and it can be challenging to have those conversations with your spouse or partner. So you have to just start with a conversation, and also just take time for yourself as well. It's okay to go hang out with your guy friends. Just let your partner, spouse, or whoever know, because you know how we can get. We worry. So, just take those breaks for yourself, and that's the start.
Absolutely. And actually, I want to bring in this question from Sean Smith, because it's kind of, you just answered it. What advice would you give to encouragement to deal positively with their mental health? That part we kind of talked about, but I wanted to touch on the second part. He said most men deal with their problems by drinking and smoking. So how does drugs and other substances affect our mental health, and how difficult can it get for us to kind of get back on track if we've chosen to kind of numb ourselves through using a substance?
Well, it really is a method to suppress and not really provide a solution to what you're dealing with. And it's really hard to try to help that person, because one, you don't want to cause any more triggers. You don't know why they are focusing on those certain substances to cope, So the first thing is just to have conversations again. Once you start speaking with someone and seeing the areas that they're dealing with and why they're dealing with it that way, we have to figure out who would they confide in first, who would they trust, to, have those hard conversations like, hey, I want to help you. But it also has to be understanding between that person and the person that they confide in. So we have to be very careful as to how we approach that. But it is a coping mechanism, and there are ways to help that person, but being strategic and sort of mindful of how we assist that individual.
Awesome. And then we have this comment here from Jody Virgil, Jack.
Morning, ladies. Great conversation. Ensuring that I exercise and take quiet time is what works well for me.
That's awesome.
Good. That's good.
And then, so you did mention mindfulness. And so before we get into our last question, I did kind of want to speak on, or get you to speak on, mindfulness and that practice, because it's kind of come up more frequently in the last few years. Everyone wants to be a mindfulness teacher, a mindfulness coach, something with mindfulness they want to say that they're doing. And so not necessarily taking away from the trend and the awareness that people are having around mindfulness, but can you speak a little bit more to like the importance of being more aware of your mental health and like your triggers and how that can benefit your relationships, whether they're your family, your coworkers, just general people that you see in the street?
Yes. So mental well-being is a combination of your perspective, how you respond to things. And so we have to be mindful of what our triggers are, how we respond to things. I would even suggest, I know people don't really journal as much as we like to because we're always on the go and on our phone. But you have a notes or some form of way of recording things on your phone where you're like, why am I feeling bad today? Write down this scenario and things that have happened, not necessarily in that day, but within that week. And you'll be surprised at what you have come across that are sort of your triggers. And as we all like to say, having positive energy, we need to surround ourselves with people. So mindfulness is just taking an analysis of the things that are happening in our lives, what we do, who we surround ourselves with, and also just taking a note of those things and making sure that we not only say no to certain things that we see that can trigger us, but also implementing habits that can help improve our health. So I know my mother-in-law and her friend, they go on mindfulness morning walks, and they take an hour or two, even more throughout the day, just early morning, just to go on a walk and just taking note of their surroundings. That within itself is mindfulness. So you can do simple things to improve that area and also implement that in your life.
That sounds great. I actually go running first thing in the morning, and I don't listen to music, although I have headphones in, but I kind of do that. But it's kind of dark still in the morning, so I'm not as aware of like, what I can see. But I do have a flashlight on, so I can kind of see some small things. But I do use that as a time for me to like, kind of reconnect and just be aware of, myself and how I feel in the morning, kind of set the tone for the day. So I definitely would kind of jump on mother-in-law Fox's little bandwagon with that. Like definitely try to, and it's a simple way to be active without feeling like you're working out. Because I feel like some people don't like to kind of focus on their physical activity because they feel like, it has to be a workout. So I think that's a great pointer. And for anyone that's watching that's like, okay, I want to try this out, just go for a walk. And that might be it. That might be all you need. So as we wrap up, Taja, can you remind the audience how they can sign up for the retreat that you're having in September? And if they wanted to connect with you and just like support Bermuda Bliss Women, how could they do that?
Yes. So go to bdablisswomen.com. You'll find information about our retreat. You can send us an email through our website, or you can, reach out to us on social media. You can find us at BDA Bliss Women. But if you are interested in not only being involved as a participant, but maybe even speaking at a event, we have other events coming up. So please don't hesitate to reach out, because we're more than open to educate the community on not only local wellness experts on island, but also just making sure that women know that, you know, there are other women in their tribe that they can connect with. But yes, please reach us at bdablisswomen.com. And thank you, Terri and Jackie, for having me this morning.
Thanks
You're
for coming.
welcome. Thanks for coming, Taja. We really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
That was awesome.
Yes.
I like to dance after conversation. So let us know in the comment what key takeaway you took from that conversation with Taja, who is the founder of Bermuda Bliss Women. Yes, it is targeted at women, but as she mentioned, there are ways for men to be a part of the conversation as well. And so if you are a gentleman watching this and your mental health is something that's very important to you, do let us know in the comments as well, because there is another there is a space that I have seen on social media that focuses on men's mental health. And so I am going to try to do some research on that and see if we can get someone from that company to join, because it would be interesting for us women to have a conversation with the man about that, because there are some misconceptions, right? When you think of how women deal with mental health versus how men deal with mental health. And we could probably be doing the exact same thing. It just looks different because
I mean, but it's also, it's very important for us to understand and be able to be supportive of our counterparts, because we have fathers, we have brothers, we have uncles, cousins, stuff like that. So you want to be able to be a part of their support system the same way that they support us. So you know that vice versa love.
Yeah, trying to bring in that old school. We actually have a throwback feel good vibe for you today, so definitely make sure you stick around for that. We have a comment here from Karen Edwards Simmons. She says, I go on an early morning walk when the island is calm and quiet, also near the ocean to see and hear it. That's my mindful morning routine, at least 3 days a week for about an hour. That's awesome. And like we mentioned, and as Taja mentioned, like it's a very simple activity to kind of help set the tone for your day, because as Taja shared, we do stay connected to our devices. Like some people sleep with their phone underneath their pillow, like their phone is like right next to them. And we're so wired and connected that we find it difficult to disconnect. And just doing something like taking a walk around the block, around like a loop around your neighborhood, could really make a huge difference in your mental well-being. So let us know in the comments any key takeaways you took away from our conversation with Taja as I cue up our feel-good vibe of the day. Okay, so actually, before we get into our feel-good vibe, I forgot to mention that at 8 o'clock, make sure you head over to watch the Daily Hour, because Jamal and Michaela are going to be speaking with this year's Nurse of the Year, Karen Grant Simmons. So if you know a nurse, if you are a nurse, if you want to support a nurse, make sure you head over to watch that conversation. And I am going to bring in our feel-good vibe of the day.
And just like that, I'm back with a throwback. Hey, the block is hot and he feels the heat, and that's why he's wide open across the street. He's looking like an athlete off a track meet with them fast feet. The man can't catch me. He's run by TCD, but this PC couldn't see. He only CCTV. He got hit with the police bike. You know he hyping. He don't take that light. Looks like he wants to fight. Walk it off, cousin. Walk it off.
You know how they say it be your ear, people?
It be your
ear. You just randomly go.
It be your ear, people. So as always, we hope that after today's feel good vibe of the day, you are ready to make it a great one. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.